were you originally thinking, hey, I'm going to law school, I want to do the public service and be a prosecutor?
No, actually, originally I wanted to be Olivia Benson. I don't know if you guys are Law and Order SVU fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to be a detective. And so that's why I went. And then it was actually my dad who one day was like, I know you want to be a detective, but what about you go in and be Alex Cabot? And she's the prosecutor in that show. Or Casey Novak.
Gabby Becker, welcome to On the Verge podcast, where we talk about just ordinary people that get extraordinary results.
Yeah.
You've only been with us for a shorter period of time, but we have seen some extraordinary results coming from you. You're like an avid exerciser. You've got a history of being a prosecutor. You've done mass tort cases. You've landed here at Daniel Stark, and we're thrilled.
No doubt.
So
Thanks,
I want to
guys.
start with, a lot of people like to hear about a successful professional's like life, a day in the life. And I always like to start with, tell us about your exercise routine. You're fit, you're full of energy. How do you keep all that up? Let's start right there.
Well, I've got 3 mini golden doodles. So that's how I keep it up.
3 miniature golden doodles.
I do, yeah.
Do I understand that all 3 have names that start with the letter R?
They do.
So what are the names?
They're Riley Ray, Ruby Rose, and Rocky Rim.
So not just one R. You got
They have middle
6
names.
R's.
Yes.
What's up with that?
I don't really know. We just wanted to stay with the R's. We started with Riley and we
Crushing
just
it.
went with
Anyway, you
Yeah.
got the three micro golden doodles.
Yes, they keep me walking every morning, every evening, my husband and I, and we just, with what we do for a living, you've got to find an outlet, right? Yeah. And so they are my outlet, and being able to be outside and day in the life for me is honestly work, my dogs, my husband, family. Yeah. I got a nephew who's 3. So he also keeps me on my toes.
Lives close enough where you get to see him regularly?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I call him my baby. Even though I didn't birth him, he is my baby.
That's awesome.
And you live in Austin?
San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gabby is one of just a handful of attorneys here at Daniel Stark that is fully remote. Right. So I say fully remote, yet here you are on set today. So when necessary, she comes into the office. But Gabby's resume, when it came in, was so impressive. It's like, I almost don't care where she lives. Let's get her on this team.
Thank you.
Tell us, what drew you to law?
I considered myself an underdog. So when I was younger, I had to go to school to learn how to speak English. I was in 2nd grade. And then out of all the generations in my family, I'm the first person to graduate from college. I'm the first person to go to law school. But I still got a job right out of law school at the DA's office. And this was all new, right? And so as that underdog, I always pushed myself as a challenge. I was like, I'm going to keep pushing myself on that. Yeah, what got me to law was just, what can I do to help other underdogs? What can I do to be advocates for other underdogs? And one of my favorite quotes is, be careful how you perceive the underdog, because the universe has a way of favoring them.
No, that's true.
Right?
No doubt.
Yeah. And so I've just always had that mindset. What can I do to help other folks in whatever avenue that looks like? And I knew law was one of them. And of course, my dad was also in my ear being like, hey, this is the path for you. This is the path for you. So that's how I found myself there.
Okay, and you got your undergraduate in criminal justice. Were you originally thinking, hey, I'm going to law school, I want to do the public service and be a prosecutor?
No, actually, originally I wanted to be Olivia Benson. I don't know if you guys are Law and Order SVU fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to be a detective, and so that's why I went. And then it was actually my dad who one day was like, I know you want to be a detective, but what about you go in and be Alex Cabot? And she's the prosecutor in that show. Or Casey Novak. And he was always like, you could have, I see that your potential of having more of a voice for those folks in that courtroom. So,
my wife, Christy, is a mad Law and Order fan.
Yes.
Like her text alert is the dun-dun.
Oh, I love that.
And we often remarked in law school, all the legal shows, Law and Order was the one that was like actually the most accurate in terms of federal criminal procedure.
Yeah.
It was like, this is pretty close. I saw a tattoo the other day on this arm, and it was the first letter of the intro in the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two. Anyway, it was a very long tattoo. Ended with the DD for the da-dun.
That's a super.
You probably
fan.
Danny does not watch that much TV.
I didn't watch. No, I don't. But Law and Order is not one that I've watched. Maybe ever.
I hear Law and Order on the TV at my house every single day.
Oh, it's on mine too. Every single day.
100% of the days.
100%.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's
I got you.
So you
cool story.
started at the prosecutor's office, and you got into some, sexual crime type cases. You were prosecuting those. Tell us how was that?
Yeah. So while I was at the prosecutor's office, I was part of the Special Victims Division. So out of Montgomery County, they have a specific division that handles sexual assault of children 10 and under. And so I was placed in that division for some time. And the cool thing about that division is that you work close in hand with the detectives, the forensic interviewers, the SANE nurses. They're all housed in one area. So my door was always open, detectives coming in and out. We're running, talking about cases. I'm telling them how we should do X, Y, Z. We're kind of just bouncing ideas off each other. And so that experience itself, although it was not easy work, and obviously those days were tough, but we really did have a good system to kind of help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That would be very emotionally taxing,
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's, we had a Be Remarkable in Killeen a number of years ago, and I met a lady that was running some programs for young girls that are sex trafficked. And it blew my mind to think, how is this happening in our communities here? Like how can that possibly even happen? It seems like they're getting kidnapped. They're not. That's not what she was saying. They don't just get kidnapped. They get psychologically manipulated.
Right.
Typically over, some insecurity that they have, and a predatory male understands that insecurity and then convinces them to trust over time and draws them away from their family, and those girls disappear.
Yeah.
So I've heard of here recently in the Brazos Valley of a 15-year-old girl that's disappeared.
Yeah.
And Jonathan actually,
this
has a story.
Yeah, this was within the last 8 weeks. A 15-year-old girl disappeared from a house that I used to own here in town. So out south of College Station.
Yeah.
So presumably this young girl slept in the same room that my daughter slept with. So it's crazy to think that stuff is happening.
Oh yeah.
Right here in our communities under our noses.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've actually opened a whole division in our firm now because there are civil ways we can pursue these aggressors, and a lot of times
and they're co-conspirators.
They're co-conspirators, and that's typically who we're after. So I want to talk a little bit about that so that our listeners can understand, first of all, that there is a threat out there and that we need to protect against.
Absolutely.
Secondly, what are we doing on the civil side? You've come over from the criminal side.
Yes.
You've prosecuted these cases for years. Now you're prosecuting them on the civil side. I want you to tell us a little bit about some of the cases that we're handling.
Yeah.
Who do we go after? What is our avenue here at the firm to help curb this problem and hold people accountable?
Yeah. So the cases that I've been touching here at the firm, the folks that we usually go after, obviously the perp is always going to be one of the individuals we go after, but we also try to focus on an organization that perp is tied to. Is there some, whether that's a church, whether that's employer-employee kind of situation. I recently just got a case actually where it's a massage therapist that sexually assaulted an individual who went in for their massage. So we're actually going after the business itself. But specifically with the human trafficking cases, of course we include the perp and any acquaintances, but really where that pocket, I guess you can say, comes from to try to make our survivors whole again, give them some money to at least help with something, right? Because truthfully, there's no amount of money in the world that will ever make these folks whole again, right?
No, but they need help, and it's expensive, the help they need.
Yes. And so the avenue that we go towards in those cases is holding hotels accountable, right? Like,
Yeah, people often wouldn't think about the fact that they're trafficking these young ladies. They're taking them to these hotel rooms to meet mostly men that take advantage of these young kids, boys and girls. And the hotel,
they know what's happening.
They know what's happening. They're implicit.
Absolutely. They know exactly what's happening. And so if we can show some type of negligent security aspect or just negligence of, you know exactly what's happening here and you've done nothing to protect individuals from going through this. In fact, your employees are probably in it, to be honest. They're the ones probably getting a cut under the table sometimes too. Yeah. So, but if we could show that, then we're going after those hotels. Yeah,
absolutely.
I was just at a conference in New Orleans, and they were talking about the explosion of cases being reported now of women being victimized in ride sharing.
Oh yeah.
And while I'd like to name the specific one that might be cause of concern yet, but their own data is shocking.
Oh, yeah.
It is shocking. And, they have a responsibility to make sure that when they are pairing women up or anyone up with drivers, that those drivers are safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The incidence of sexual predation in those ride shares it's horrific.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, right, perps are going to go for anything they can find or anyone they can find who's vulnerable, right? Yeah. And in those rideshare situations, a lot of the times why you have to take a rideshare is because you're under the influence.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you are in that vulnerable state. Yeah. And it is their job. They have a duty to make sure that they're not hiring folks who have criminal background in any way, shape, or form that would indicate that they're a danger. Sure. Or if there's any complaints of that individual and they haven't done anything about it. Yeah. That's something else we can look at. But yeah, I mean, that's like most women, when they go and get a ride share, it's because they can't drive home. They're under the influence, right?
I mean, I think this is a good tip right here for females. If you've had a little bit of alcohol, just like if you were going on a hike or something in the woods, bring a friend.
Yes. Bring a friend, no doubt.
Because, extra numbers matter.
Oh, yeah.
In these situations. So you don't want to be by yourself.
Or let your family member know, like, I'm heading home. Yeah. Be on the phone with them. I've done that myself.
Yeah. Another thing that I know is prevalent is the roofie situation in the bar. So don't leave your drink unattended. Mm-hmm. Don't have somebody else's drink. Don't let somebody switch a drink. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on that people need to have their guard up about to help prevent these, but they pursue them from a criminal aspect. But a lot of people don't realize that, hey, you may have a civil case. Right. You may be entitled to damages from some, like you said, some entity. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to add about those cases before we move on to some other case types?
Yeah, I would just say as well, some folks may feel like I didn't outcry, essentially. They didn't talk about it when it happened, or it's been months since it happened and never told anyone. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, man, there's nothing I can really do anymore. I didn't call law enforcement. I just shut down. Trauma affects people in so many ways. Mm-hmm. And so they're afraid that there's really nothing we can do. And reality is, come talk to us. Like, delayed outcries in these type of situations is very common.
Sure.
Right? Sure. This is normal. And that's why you have to have attorneys on your side that know how to navigate these type of cases so that I can help build a case even with a delay outcry. Mm-hmm. I can get an expert to testify about why someone would not outcry immediately. Mm-hmm. And then I can also dive into it with our investigators to figure out how we can build up your story. Yeah. We can still use life impact witnesses as well. And so I would just say don't be afraid to come talk with us, even if it's been a while. Of course, we have statute limitations in the civil world that we have to look into. But come chat with us, see if there's something we can do.
A lot of times those are told with the younger people we see get involved in these situations as victims. They obviously have extensions on those statutes. Yeah. But also thinking.
Go ahead. I want, before we go to a whole nother topic, I have one other thought. I'm curious about these dating apps. Mm-hmm. And, I'm reading more and more stories about women who are meeting men on these applications and they become victims of sexual violence. So I don't know if we've
We've got one.
We've got one of those right now. So we won't name the app, but tell us a little bit about kind of that fact pattern and the theory of liability that we're pursuing, because I have a feeling of all the things we've talked about that this particular mode of perpetrators finding victims is wildly prevalent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there are options for you to go ahead and comment or send emails if there's something does happen between one of those perps and you, or it's just, that guy. And if they have enough complaints, really one is enough, and they haven't done anything about it, that's one avenue that we could take. The problem a little bit sometimes, though, is sometimes they do just say, hey, we've gotten a complaint, we ban you. These perps still find ways to get on by using other individuals' information. They can just create a whole nother profile, if you think about it, right? Like they can just go and say, instead of Danny, I'm going to use Jonathan Stark's information. And they're, sometimes these apps don't even verify that. And so there's some avenues.
And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. So
emerging area, but some potential liability there for those applications. Another thing is the criminal standard of burden of proof is different than the civil. So, I think a lot of people pursue these criminal cases. And first of all, the prosecutors, the investigators, they may be overwhelmed with the number of cases, right? Yeah. So it may take a long time for them to get to a result. Maybe they don't have enough evidence to meet that burden. But the civil burden is lesser than the criminal burden. So still, even if you've pursued your criminal case and it's been unsuccessful, that doesn't mean that you can't pursue a civil case.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Want to make that a point.
And this is a hard area of law to be in. It's a subset of cases that I wish didn't exist, but they do, and we are really lucky to have you on our team, Gabby, and
so nice.
to represent these victims.
Yeah.
And so we'll get Rochelle on here another time, but Rochelle is another attorney here at the firm that you've worked with in the past.
I did.
That has some similar experience, and so we're committed. We're committed to making sure that these victims have knowledgeable, experienced representatives to stand beside them and fight this fight that has to happen. It's got to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
thanks.
Glad you're here.
Thanks for pursuing those. It's a purpose you can wake up to every day and be fired up to come into. So you went to school to find a way to help, and your career has been that. Yeah. Again, extraordinary.
It has. Hey, we're fixing a transition, I think. Talk about some cases.
Yep.
But I think the cases that we're going to talk about, we kind of can segue a little bit. But what is the number one defense tactic in the sexual assault criminal cases?
Oh, easy.
What is it?
It was all consensual.
Yeah.
Or blame the victim.
Oh, well, yes. Blame the victim.
It was consensual, or just they attack the victim.
Oh, yeah.
I know, because I know the cases we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That same thing happens in these civil cases.
Oh, yeah.
That's the common thread for the three cases that you're bringing are each of these plaintiffs were attacked by the defense.
Yes.
And so let's get that started. Tell us about your first case.
All right. Lauren.
Yes. So these are not real names.
Yes.
These
So
are
I'm
not
trying to
real
remember.
names.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Yes. Lauren, before the crash happened, she was a wife that enjoyed going on walks with her husband daily. She was a grandmother who enjoyed going to see hockey games with her grandkids, actually out in Austin. The Stars, I think it is. It's interesting because
I know it's the Dallas Stars.
Dallas Stars.
Austin has a hockey team?
I think they
That's
do.
new
I'm
to
pretty
me.
positive they
Okay.
do. I don't know. But
Wow.
Pretty sure.
We'll have to edit out our ignorance.
We'll see.
here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or and unless she's wrong, and then we'll just leave it in because that's.
I mean, don't get mad at me. I know they have a soccer team. I know
Yes.
that for a
There you
fact.
go.
Austin has a
There
soccer
you go.
team.
There
But
you go.
Anyway, she enjoyed going to those hockey games with her grandchildren. She was a home health aide where she worked with folks with dementia, and she worked with folks who couldn't really get up and take care of themselves. She'd been doing that for decades, right? So before this crash, she was just living her best life because ultimately, for what she did for a living, she knew that someday, naturally, our bodies are going to get to that point. But sadly, because of the crash, she got there sooner than she thought.
What happened? What What was the crash?
Yeah, so she's basically traveling down in the Austin area on a road, and she's coming straight, and there's an individual coming the opposite direction from her, and he is trying to take a left, and he has to yield to her, and he doesn't. So he clocks her, basically, and
Turns into her.
turns
Literally.
into her.
A lot of times what will happen is they'll turn in front of somebody, but in this one, it's even more egregious when
Yeah,
you
it drove right
turn
to the
on-
side of a car.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hard to do.
That is.
Yeah, and she spun and she was pretty injured, and the problem she faced afterwards was finding doctors who would treat her.
Yeah.
Because so basically she gets in the accident, she's kind of shaken up, she's adrenaline running. She's like, I'm walking away from this, so I think I'm okay. Well, she goes home that night, like most people would.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I think I'm okay. She goes home that night, and she just could not sleep because the pain just immediately started overwhelming her, right? She can't sleep. Next day, she goes to the ER. They check her out, and she can't find any other doctors after that to, like, really look at her because immediately they hear car accident, they see attachment to lawsuit.
Yeah, they don't want to be involved.
They don't want to be involved.
Yeah, we've gone over that in some prior podcasts about how it's just not in the doctor's economic interest to be subpoenaed to a trial.
Yeah.
They don't get paid very much. They're like, a normal witness if they're subpoenaed, right?
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
So she's fighting that fight.
She's fighting that fight, and then that's how she gets to us, and we're able to get her that help and that treatment that she needs. And she actively treats for about 2.5-ish years, throughout like 2-3-ish years. She's actively treating. But like everything, life happens. So there are some gaps in those treatments. Like there's a few weeks or months that go by where she isn't constantly treating in that aspect. But that's something they used against her, trying to blame her. Well, if you are not seeking treatment, then you must not be in pain, right? That's the bigger one, right? If you didn't immediately go to the ER, you were not in pain. Did that whole thing as well. We go on through this litigation, and it was a really interesting one because as it comes to causation, we have to show that the negligence of someone else caused the injury. Right? And usually we do that through the medical side, through the doctors. And in this situation, when she went to the ER that day, she had been complaining of pain to only her left knee.
Right.
Not her right knee. 2 months later, she says, my right knee is really starting to bother me. She talks to a doctor about that.
We know what the insurance company is going to do.
Yes, and that's exactly what they did. She ended up actually getting a small surgery. It wasn't super invasive, but she did on her right knee. And the insurance company, of course, used the fact that that's not related. She didn't say anything about this till 2 months later, blah, 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 blah. But we were creative in that we worked with her treating doctor, and we came up with this theory of being able to articulate to a jury if we were actually gearing up for trial. This was a few weeks ago. We were going to argue that the main impact to her left knee caused her so much pain that she had to overcompensate and using her right knee.
Yeah, she changed her gait.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
And then that ultimately was worse because throughout the next couple of years, she's constantly overcompensating.
I think that's a known thing. I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah. And then we got our doctors ready to testify on that, and I was able to get their medical experts to admit to that as well, which was great.
That is good.
Great.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
Yeah.
Did she ever have? I know when people have lower limb issues, they're more susceptible to a fall.
Yes.
Did that happen in this case?
Yes.
Because I think she had a fall, and then that's another area where the insurance companies want to. Oh well, no, you didn't hurt yourself in this massive car crash. You hurt yourself when you tripped, and you're more susceptible to that when you're injured.
Yeah.
Right. You're more
absolutely.
susceptible to falling, and in her case, she did, and landed on her knee, further injuring it.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes.
And then they want to point the finger at that.
Yes. That's
Right.
exactly what they were trying to do here.
Blame the victim.
Yep.
Blame the victim.
Yep.
So in this case, though, was there an initial offer on the case?
The initial offer in pre-lit, I believe, was under $10K.
Okay.
So nothing.
I think I remember it
really.
being $5,000.
Yeah.
I looked at the file, but a $5,000 offer for this pretty substantial crash, and ultimately you took that case all the way to the
Courthouse
We
steps,
did.
got it resolved
Yes.
for
$150,000.
$150,000.
Yes.
That's pretty good return.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah,
$5,000
that's
to
a remarkable
$150,000.
result.
Yeah.
That absolutely
Yeah.
awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. How was the client after this was finally over? It took a while.
Oh, it took a while, but
yeah.
she was very happy. She walked away with a pretty good chunk of money in her pocket, and not necessarily just because of the money, but more so because she didn't have to go through the trial. Obviously, nobody wants to go to a trial, you know, but just for the fact that we fought for her, given how complicated that issue was with the knee specifically, and that we just didn't give up. And she's going to use that money to try to get herself back to where she was. But the truth is, she's never going to get back there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
How old was she?
she was older too.
her
That was
50s.
something that 50s that folks were using.
That's not older. Wait a minute. I object.
I can tell you from experience though.
well.
when you're in that age bracket and you hurt something, it
That's
takes
right.
a long time to recover.
Exactly.
It does. But you know what? That also, that whole gap in care. These insurance companies will argue that if you took a couple of months off from going to the doctor, that's a gap in care. I'm like you. I've got some nagging injuries. And the last thing in the world I want to do is go to the doctor. I know what I need to do. I'm not going to go do it until it hurts so bad I'm forced to go do it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change that I'm injured,
Exactly.
That's right. And life happens. You
does.
have responsibilities, and these injuries can take a long time to recover. So the fact that somebody takes a break during a stressful time in life to deal with life
Right.
and puts their pain and suffering aside for a moment, or does it in silence, is certainly reasonable.
Right.
And normal.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's something that I was able to get out of their experts as well. They had 2 defense experts that they hired, and they all both agreed with me that that's pretty normal for those gaps in treatments.
That's what a normal, reasonably prudent person does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, not every lawyer takes the time to depose the defendant's experts, right? The lawyer you hire makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the difference is starting.
Yeah.
That's my new thing. But you did a good job on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go on to the next case. Tell us about that one.
Miss Julie,
Okay, Miss Julie. Name is different. Facts are
the same, but name is different.
we use a different name, but the facts are all true.
Yeah.
All right, this
So,
one's Julie.
Miss Julie. Man, Miss Julie's story is sad. She was a single mother of 4 kiddos. She was working full-time at Walmart. She was in and out of domestic violence situations and in and out of shelters, but she was doing everything she possibly could to put food on the table, have a roof over her kiddos' heads. Then this crash happens, right? And
And where was this one?
This was out of McLennan County. That morning, she was getting up to take her youngest to daycare, and she was traveling to do that, and then she was going to go to work, right? And so it's kind of the same situation where she's traveling, and she's got a green light through the intersection to go straight, and the defendant driver, who is driving an 18-wheeler, is supposed to yield to her to turn left. And he, again, same situation, goes right into her, doesn't yield, and gets clocks her. And so immediately after, she's more concerned about my kids.
Yeah, she had the kids in the car.
Yeah,
One,
yeah.
right?
Actually, I think she had 2. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, she had 2. One was 3 at the time, and one was 5 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she's more concerned about them. She's not thinking about herself. She's not thinking about, I need to go in the ambulance to treat or anything like that. Like normal people are going to be very about their children,
That's
right?
That's
that was something that was used against her. And she then...
That's sorry.
Yeah.
Like
But
the
they do
insurance
it.
company, you took care of your kid. If you were really hurt,
They do it.
you'd have just drop them off somewhere? Come on.
It's crazy. They do it all the time. And in my head, when they do that too, I'm like, okay, go have fun telling a jury that.
Yeah.
Please.
Go have fun doing
Please
that.
tell a jury
Please.
that.
Yeah.
Please. And I'm just going to sit there and be like, That's what he wants you to believe.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, anyways, but so she tries doing some treatment, because she had injured her shoulder in that. But life happens, man, like we were just saying. And unfortunately, because of the crash, she couldn't have her car anymore. So she lost her job. She no longer had any income to help her and her 4 kiddos.
Oh, but what about this massive savings account she had? I'm sure, right?
I mean, we'd all hope we do, but I mean, that's just not
real.
real.
Well, and man, there are so many people that are likely living on the edge of everything, just getting by.
Yes.
And if you throw a car wreck into the mix and you in an injury, and all of a sudden you've lost your car.
Yeah.
Like literally, your only mode of transportation, your employer may not give you the grace depending on where you're working.
Exactly.
And, a lost job as a result of missing a few shifts or what have you, it's huge. It's huge.
The dominoes are falling now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just puts them over the edge, and it's hard to recover from that.
Now, where did this lead for her?
Well, like you said, the dominoes are falling, right? So at this point, she has to go back into a shelter with her kiddos for a little bit. And ultimately, she decides, let me move up to Arkansas. I've got some family there. I can live in their couch. That's what she does. And one day, this is where it really turns really sad for her. She wakes up and she knows that her daughter missed the school bus. So she has to take her daughter to go to school. And she makes a decision that I'm sure will haunt her every day of the rest of her life. Her youngest baby, who was 18 months at the time, is sleeping. And she's like, I'm just going 10 minutes away. I don't want to wake him up. I'm just going to really quickly leave. I'll lock the door. When she comes back, the house is in flames.
There's an electrical fire.
It was an electrical fire.
Wow.
And she lost her baby that day.
And of course, the law
Yeah.
is obliged to investigate,
Yep.
and that kicks off a criminal process.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened. As you can imagine, this was on the back burner, right? Like this entire going and getting treatment or thinking about herself and getting her shoulder looked at was on the back burner. She just was not mentally there to deal with it. And so, of course, that's all things that the insurance company used against her. She didn't treat. They didn't care why.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
what happened with the that particular case? Did it get resolved as far as the criminal?
The criminal, yes, it did. Thankfully, after the investigation, the prosecution office decided not to prosecute.
Yeah.
They didn't pick it up after they did an investigation
And realized it was an electrical fire.
Well, they technically still could have gone after her for the abandonment, but I think they realized that, when I was a prosecutor, there were 3 things that I would always ask myself. Did the individual do it? Can I prove that the individual did it? And is it justice to prove that the individual did it? And that third part is really where it's important as a prosecutor to decide if it's the right thing to do it or not.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I'm sure they said, this isn't the right time to do that.
Yeah.
She wasn't criminally charged, thankfully.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you hear those stories and you think there's nothing in your life that's really going bad.
Right.
When you think about some of the things that we witness our clients go through, whether it's just these catastrophic injuries, a loss of a loved one, something like this where she's just barely getting by and then the dominoes are falling and in the worst possible way. Our clients, they survive. They somehow make it through. And so tell us how this ended for her.
Yeah. So she had to keep pushing. She's got 3 other kiddos she's got to push for, right? And so it ultimately ended with me more so focusing on attacking the defendant driver himself, because turns out
he was a loser, wasn't he?
Turns out he was on parole for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So that was something that I definitely ran with and only focused on. While the insurance company was trying to focus on her lack of treatment, I was like, I don't care. I'm coming after you for what, who you have driving on these streets. Who
you put behind the wheel of these 18-wheelers.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was obviously aggressive because he attacked her, at least verbally, post-crash.
Correct.
He comes out, it's his fault, and he comes out blaming her very aggressively. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
A mom with her kids in the car, he comes out shouting, and
it was
a bad individual.
I mean, it's what you would expect for somebody who is on parole for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You know, like it's just, it's unfortunate. But we pushed on that. And the other side, essentially, they answered on behalf of the trucking company only, not on the defendant himself, because it turns out that he got pulled back into prison. And so for some reason, they didn't want to represent him to deal with the civil suit as well. So we did something kind of interesting that I don't think we would have done in any other situation.
Well, yeah, because most of the time, when these insurance companies hire attorneys, they hire them to represent the trucking company,
correct,
and the individual,
correct.
And so when that happens, since the individual is represented, you can't talk to them.
Can't talk to them.
Yeah.
That's the ethical rules,
right?
But they didn't do that this time.
They did not.
And so what'd you do?
So, little old me, Gabby, picked up the phone, scheduled a call with him in prison. And we were best friends by the end of the call, in the sense that he gave me everything I needed to essentially use against that trucking company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Creative.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Because it's a rare thing that's even an option. So, I mean, to think through all of the options when one of those is like a 1 in 100 opportunity, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. Before we get to the end of the story and the end of the case, I already in my mind, I can see the comments on social media. There's going to be some people ripping this mother for her decision that day in Arkansas. And I just want to speak to that and just to say that whatever you as in somebody who may be inclined to share your feelings about her decision that day, whatever you think about her, I'm pretty sure she thinks worse about herself. And so I know the keyboard warriors behind the anonymity of a computer monitor are going to do what they do. But as you said, you think about justice. Let's just try to be humans and acknowledge that the punishment we inflict upon ourselves is way worse than your keyboard strokes, for whatever that's worth. I doubt it'll stop it, but
but that's a good point. But also, it makes me think about we take an oath to be zealous advocates. So we have a client, something like that happens. It's not like we're going to turn our back on them. We're going to zealously advocate for our client, regardless.
Absolutely.
Now we do make choices on the front end, which clients we want to zealously advocate for.
Right.
And we're pretty picky. Here we select cases, and we always say, we don't take every case, but when we do, we've got your back.
Right.
And you had her back.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, it was more just with what you were going with the, keyboard warriors and stuff. Like, the way I saw it is, you're not in that life. You're not in that space to where you might be thinking, I would never have done that. But here we have an individual who has no job, no money, has been in and out of domestic violence relationships, in and out of shelters, doing the best that she can for her kids. And in a split second, she made a choice that she just didn't want to wake her baby up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not like it's...
She didn't go out to go to the club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's taking her daughter to school.
And she's in a situation where she's limited at childcare and who can help. And so it's just one of those things where I can't judge other folks. Like,
well, you had her back.
I did.
How'd the story end?
It ended really well. She ultimately, when I was talking to her about what she wanted out of this case financially, she told me, all she said was, I just want $5,000. Because I just want enough money to pay for my son's funeral. It's literally all she said. And I was able to get her another $35,000 on top of that. So total
just for her. So
just
total,
for her.
Yeah, because the total result. Of course, you have medical bills, attorney's fees, all those things.
But just for her, she got a check of close to $40,000.
And that props up a lot of fallen dominoes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that allows someone to get fully back on their feet and have a chance at overcoming the adversities of the wreck and then the domino effect from the wreck.
Exactly. And sometimes the money isn't going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it can be life-changing money. And that's what this was for her. This was something that was enough for her to get her back on her feet.
Yeah. Great job.
Good job.
Great job.
Last but not least.
Una mas.
One more.
Amanda, I think is the name that we're going with, right?
Amanda. Alias Amanda. Where's she from?
She's actually from Travis County as well.
Okay.
Outskirts of
Austin
Travis.
area.
Yeah, Austin area. She herself was also a home health individual as well that would go help, but more so not medically, but just like cleaning dishes and, keeping up with the house and things.
The activities of daily living, they call that. The ADLs.
The ADLs. Yeah. She used to do that, and she was out living out there in this really cute trailer with her partner that she's been with for a long time. And this crash happened. Basically, what's happening is she's coming straight, and it's interesting because she is trying to turn left, but she has to do like a wide right to turn left because of the way the road was. I don't know if that's making
Austin's
much
got
sense.
a lot of those narrow streets where you've got way more than a 90-degree turn.
Especially in the I think this was a little rural.
Yes, like
rural
outskirts.
Austin, yeah.
And so as she's doing that, there is the tortfeasor, so the defendant driver behind her, just instead of stopping, just plows right into her. The problem that we dealt with Amanda was very, very sweet lady. However, there were some mental health issues that I could immediately kind of get a sense of.
You talking about issues associated with injuries from the wreck, or perhaps just some pre-existing?
Pre-existing.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was definitely something that most lawyers would have immediately turned away. Not that we don't want to help folks with mental health issues, but it is harder to litigate those type of cases.
Again, they're going to blame the victim.
Exactly.
There is a bias and prejudice against folks with mental health issues.
Yes, and they're going to say you don't really know how to articulate the facts of how it really happened.
They won't relate to the jury well, and all those things. They're taking advantage of somebody's situation for their benefit, essentially.
Exactly. And so that was something we were concerned with. We didn't shy away from it because at the end of the day, we're going to do what we got to do to help these folks, these underdogs, essentially. Like I said, right? Like that's where she's starting. She's that underdog.
And it is challenging, despite whatever level of mental impairment you have. If you get rear-ended, I mean, it's probably not your fault. Yeah. So... yeah, tell us more.
So then she was deposed, and in that deposition, man, it was a long one too. I had spent like 4 hours with her before just to prepare her because I genuinely wanted to make sure she was going to be able to answer questions and articulate things. And so I spent a long time with her. She was deposed, and it was a long depo, but we were there protecting her in that depo. Anytime I felt like a defense attorney was asking a question that you've already asked, or you're kind of just being a jerk about it, or like you should already tell that there's maybe a little bit of going on the other side, like her mental health. So let's not keep pushing. Man, that was a long depo because we were fighting a lot. Not necessarily.
Well, yeah, because that's exactly what they want to do is keep pushing. Yeah. They want to break her down on camera
and I wasn't
in a deposition.
No, I wasn't having it.
You know, in her situation, it's a little different, but we've had a lot of these brain injury cases. I've noticed the defense lawyers will take their full time. It's totally unnecessary. They totally don't have any questions to ask. They'll start re-asking the same questions, trying to trip up somebody that obviously has a brain injury. I just sometimes I don't know how they do their job. Yeah, I just don't know how they can wake up and go to work to do that.
Yeah.
And it's happening more frequently these days.
Yeah, and it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, again, you're the one who looks like the jerk in the situation, but and you can go ahead and do that in front of a jury all day, every day. I'm cool with it. Like, I'm gonna just be looking at you like he's the problem here.
Yeah,
clearly. But it took so long because it was me and the other attorney really just going back and forth for some time on things. So she gets deposed, and they're still not budging. They're still trying to put some liability on her because she did that wide right, turn that left. Ultimately, what I decided to do was I spoke to Dawson. Have you guys talked about Dawson?
Oh, we talk about
just
Dawson
about every time,
almost every podcast.
Good, we love Dawson.
We love Dawson.
Yes.
Dawson again. In case somebody's listening, and this is the first podcast they've heard. Dawson is our life impact analyst.
Yes.
He's got a pastoral counseling background and has been a tremendous asset to our firm. But his job is to work with our clients and understand their background and story, and also how injuries have affected their life beyond the medical bills and the lost wages. More of the the real life impact. And so when you have a nurse who assists people with these ADLs, these activities of daily living, it's the same kind of thing. When you have a wreck, it's not just that you have a head injury or your back hurts or whatever. It's how does that affect your everyday life, and what dominoes does that trip and put into sequence, a cascading event of misfortune. And so that's what Dawson does. He digs in there. So Dawson
So Dawson, in this case, did something very different in what he usually does, in that he helped me understand who Amanda was. I know he usually always figures out who they were before the crash, but he dug deeper on this one, because I really needed to know who she was before the crash outside of the mental health aspect of it. And so he dug really, really deep. And he also pulled in her life partner. He pulled in other folks that could help with that, and we worked with him. And I used all of that in our mediation to really show the difference. I even had her life partner show up to mediation with us so that she could talk to the mediator about some of the stuff that she was saying.
Yeah, great.
And the mediator was listening to everything that they were, life partner was saying about her. And the mediator was, I said, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep fighting. We kept going back, and we weren't going to accept anything less than a certain amount. And and we got her a pretty good resolution as well. So
What did that case end up? I know all three of your cases you brought today were all 6-figure plus cases.
Yeah, no, that one was that one's actually the least amount. It was $100,000, but she still walked away with a good amount of money.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it takes is digging in. One of the things that our three uniques is, we know your story is unique. And so Dawson being able to help uncover the uniqueness of people, not only before the wreck, but after the wreck, and their hopes and dreams moving beyond, matters. Full value matters. We're not going to settle for less. And so just like you pushed in that mediation, that's that. And Danny, you said earlier, we got your back.
We do.
We've got your back.
Gabby definitely does.
No doubt.
I'm here for the underdogs, remember?
Yeah. You are an underdog no more, though.
Yeah, you're no longer no. But I love that you come to fight for the underdogs. And so now, I probably will never not have a conversation with you when we don't talk about the underdog.
Yeah.
Gabby Becker,
yes,
the lawyer for the underdog. I
There
mean,
you
come
go.
on.
I like that.
You like that? We need to get her
some good stuff.
Get her a little cape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great job. Thank you for coming
good job,
today.
Gabby. Thanks for being here and sharing not only the stories about the clients, your passion for people that are victims of sex trafficking and sexual assault. We know you're just going to be instrumental in the firm as we continue to grow that practice and pursue justice for those individuals. And I'm just super excited about that, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you,
Thanks
I'm
for participating.
so honored.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being here with On the Verge podcast.